That's what it means.
All right.
So,
okay, we're moving on to this story about the former DEA official. Who,
oh, yes.
So tell us how it started. Started out as a DEA official. It's like some guy that used to cook meth and they got busted, and the cops said, "Hey, we want you to cook for us now."
Well, we have seen this time and time again. And you think you can trust your government officials, and you find just as soon as they leave office or leave their position, they step into a super high-paying job with whatever, big pharma company. We saw the head of the FDA, who was denying vaccine injury, step right into a vaccine maker, and she became president of one of their vaccine divisions. In this particular case, we have a former DEA official,
Demetra Ashley.
Demetra Ashley, cut herself the choicest of gigs because she got a choice position with, of all people, Purdue Pharma.
Oh, I've heard of them.
And we know about them here in Oklahoma because right now our Attorney General is going after Purdue Pharma.
No. Already settled with
Well, he's
Purdue.
already settled. That's right. We had that discussion.
Yeah,
But
and they were willing to give up $287 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
Purdue has reportedly made more than $35 billion from the sale of OxyContin.
Cost of doing
$200
business.
million. It's a cost of doing business.
Yeah.
So here's
It's less than a time.
So here's the point. We have, and again, when you have illegal programs, it's ripe for abuse. I mean, it is abuse from its get-go. So we have a woman who was charged with enforcing our DEA, laws and everything that they deal with. And she goes straight to being a drug pusher.
I mean, she's an insider, and she's just a double agent.
But let's understand this. The term drug pusher is used for the guy who's doing it out of his pocket and in the back of his car or whatever on the street corner, and that's a drug pusher. But when you have a license, now all of a sudden you have government permission. You are Purdue Pharma.
Okay.
You're not a pusher.
It's closer to home. It was about a year ago at this time that we lost our director of the State Board of Pharmacy for essentially the same thing. Because she was caught, we have the records of it, her offering a job, paying more money if the health department legal counsel would simply ban certain things from happening on the new medical marijuana law. Because pharmacy wants to be in control of all of this, and they had lost control. The people had said, no, you don't get to decide what we put in our bodies, we decide.
Well, and this goes to the heart of the reason why this needs to get out. We need to talk about this.
Yeah.
Because every single one of these licensure programs, every single one of these schemes is there to control the market in one way or another for the big boys who get it brought in and get it passed legislatively.
But omnipotence is a godly virtue.
Well, fortunately, we are sovereign over our supposedly omnipotent government. But the thing is that, and this is the key, we have the right to do these things. They cannot be arresting us and throwing us in for political crimes for not participating in their licensure scheme.
Right.
They do it and they will do it. But we have got to start talking about this. Conservatives have never talked about it. When has this been the topic? I had to figure it out for myself, reading our founding documents and understanding and applying them and so forth. And yes, there are some people out there talking about it.
Right.
But they're the vast minority, and this has got to become the discussion. And all you have to do is look and follow the money and see that they are making themselves rich off of running these schemes because. What? They're the gatekeepers?
And they give, but a politician will say, you see, we aren't teaching enough American history in our constitutional government. We need to mandate more public school education about the Constitution.
More funding.
Yes.
Says here, Oklahoma Attorney General Mike Hunter will have the first crack at a trial May 28th in Cleveland County, Oklahoma. Hunter is suing opioid manufacturers, including Purdue, Pharma, Allergan, Cephalon, and Janssen Pharmaceuticals.
Now, mind you, the article's old because she did this back in March, but I had only just learned about it.
This is a March.
Yeah,
and
no,
so we did.
Yeah,
So that's referring to what we just talked about.
Okay,
but
He's already
in
said it.
reality, what ended up happening in the last one, it's just wrapping up now, is that Johnson & Johnson, amongst others, is in a lawsuit at district court in Norman, Oklahoma.
Right.
And the whole nation's watching it because this is the first shakedown of pharmaceuticals around the nation. Now, I have a problem with this.
Yeah.
I have a problem with the government thinking that if big business harms you, I'm the government, you don't get to sue them,
Oh, yes,
I do.
exactly.
Or you at least have to wait till I bankrupt them before you get in here.
Yes, and more so that in actuality, some of these actions of these pharmaceutical drug pushers are actually constitutional. They can promote their product. The problem is when it is done fraudulently.
Right.
And when fraud is there, that is when government is supposed to be stepping in, and they need to stomp with the full might of their
Okay,
force.
but answer this for me. Isn't that what civil courts and tort law are for?
Well, yes, but if people are being harmed physically, and there is a conspiracy to get people to use the product and to harm themselves on it, then there can be more, and it should be actually criminal as well as tort. These people are doing that, and when that happens, they're more than just a seller.
Okay, but here's the problem. Is the government then, for the sake of public safety, should be criminally punishing rather than using tort law and going after them civilly?
We need to have that discussion about these things because, yes, where appropriate, and now mind you, the government has gone to the wrong place on this issue for years. Let's talk about when they want to arrest bar owners because some guy drinks too much in their bar, gets plastered, and then goes out and drives. They get charged for letting him drive,
because I'm your
getting
mommy.
him drunk. Okay, so there is personal responsibility that must be accepted.
Right.
But in this case, they were using doctors, and doctors were complicit. Those doctors have faced nothing.
Right.
Okay, and the doctors need to face, a prosecution, perhaps, or face consequences. The pharmacies need to face consequences. Who saw all the prescriptions going through?
All of this is overseen by our benevolent dictatorship, the federal government. They are at fault here. That first of all, we paid for them to prohibit our usage of the drug. Then we paid for them to license and register people to go ahead and let us get the drug, even though we're prohibited from the drug.
Both federal and state in that.
Oh, yes.
The point is, though, we're paying these people to prohibit, then license, then we FDA the F out of them to make sure that the companies that are trying to provide these drugs to help us spend $5 billion just to get it to market, and then when they get it to market and people use it in and without responsibility, now whose fault it is? It's the government's fault. The government's fault. The government's fault.
Yeah, and
It makes me wonder about you, why you let that happen.
I'm really upset with myself now.
This is an issue.
Should have started voting before I was 18.
Folks, if these pharmaceuticals are bankrupt from what the government's doing going after them, then it probably be up to the patients, the citizens who actually have damages, to sue the government.
Yes.
For what they're doing because they are blocking.
Except the government actually has put up roadblocks, and they have made themselves beyond suit.
But when the government says that you can't be a pharmacist or you can't be a physician without our license, and then they give you a license, that they are
own it.
complicit
Yes.
in trying to convince us that no, trust these people.
Yeah.
This
Yes.
is the point that the public needs to be aware of this, so that the public can raise the cry. And, because if the hue and cry goes out, then the politicians will listen. But until it goes out, they're not going to pay any attention, because there's just no need.
Right, the Epic story is a perfect example of that. It's only the success and the swell of impact of the Epic thing. They're not being forced to go to Epic by law. There's no mandatory school law that says you got to enroll in Epic, but it's growing a third every year.
No, there is the law. You gotta get schooled.
You don't have to go to Epic.
No, but
I'm
you
saying
don't have to go
Epic
to
is
Epic.
growing without mandatory law, and it's growing because the people like it, and it's because of that impact that they're seeing the fight back.
Yeah, I have to tell you, Al Gerhardt and I were talking last night. He knows that I homeschooled all of my kids. I know you did. And he said, now help me out here. He said, tell me about the paperwork you had to file with the school district. I said, I've never filed any paperwork.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're kidding. He says, well, now what about the tests that your kids had to do? I said,
You don't have to do tests.
I said, I put my kids through Sylvan Learning Center's aptitude and assessment.
Right.
I said, but that was me, and I actually bought the software when you could buy it, so that I wouldn't get charged down at the Sylvan office there. And but no, our Constitution says in Oklahoma that that the state shall provide a common education, and every child shall do it through this or this, or by other means. In that clause, and other means, the Supreme Court has ruled, refers to things such as homeschooling.
Right.
Why so many of us Californians ended up
Bingo.
right here? That's
David
why.
made the cut. Not everybody gets to be in Oklahoma, especially Californians, but David made the cut. So
He's a legal alien.
yeah, so anyway, yeah, that's the thing. The taking responsibility for our lives again, so important.
Two more stories
And
before we wrap
but
up.
let me say this: the government many in the government don't want you taking responsibility.
Oh no, that
No, they
takes
don't.
away their power.